Good. How about yourself? Let me know when you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Good afternoon. I would like to welcome everyone to the November 5th, 2025 Building, Grounds, and Security Committee meeting. Committee members include myself, Barry Rochelle, Jerry Bowman, Mary Trammell, Jerry Bowman, and we do have a quorum present. Committee members, please respond to the roll call.
Mr. Little, I believe we've got to do those present, so the voice votes. So,
Thank you, Madam President. If we will also affirm our electronic vote with a visible and verbal vote, starting on the right end of the board. I, Donald Little, am present.
present. All righty.
Again, a quorum is present. Let's begin with invocation and pledge, and Ms. Mary Trammell will initiate that.
Oh, I apologize. That's right. Can you hit the thing for me, Ms. Trammell?
Oh, you got it? Okay. If you bow your heads, our Father and our God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for right now. We pray that this meeting will go decently in order and meet the needs of the children in Caddo Parish. We pray for everyone that's assembled, their families, and the school system. It's in your name that we pray and we say, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Trammell. We're now on 1.03, confirm the agenda. I need a motion to confirm the agenda, please. Chair recognizes Ms. Trammell.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Asking for a second. Chair recognizes Ms. Bowen. It's been moved and confirmed. I think we have to again do a visible and audible vote and electronic. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. Motion carries. Please confirm electronically. Do we need an electronic vote?
Yes, sir.
We're now on to 1.0. Okay. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Darlow. We now move on to 1.04. The first item on our agenda is Caddo priority areas for 25-26. Our superintendent, Mr. Burton, will do a presentation.
All right. Thank you very much. President Green, Board Chair Little, members of the board. It's my pleasure to bring for you an update and a request from staff. To really begin, I think we've got to focus on, as you all have heard us say, what are our priority areas this present school year. One of the very first things that we attacked was really how could we better support schools. We have changed not only what central office looks like and what our teams look like and our district supports look like, but also where those individuals are. And we've moved, as we've said, over 37 people from central positions to schools. Second priority area that was a focus was attendance and behavior, ensuring we were re-looking at a different approach to attacking truancy and attendance concerns. We have utilized Building 6. We've utilized a root cause initiative to attack attendance and behavior. And presently, we had 9 hearings today at Building 6 with families who were having chronic absentee problems with their students, and we were able to discuss with them what are the root causes and solutions. Other area, of course, that I'm very proud of and our team is proud of is our rebranding. We've really said if we're going to do business in a new way, we also need to represent ourselves in a new way, and I'm very proud of that. But what I'd like to focus on is our last priority area, and that's been our workforce development opportunities and just the experiences that we're trying to provide for students. If you go back and look from this summer presently to now, one of the first areas when you all said, we really need to look at a new career center, we really need to look at expansion, we said we've got to slow down a minute and fix some things internally first. One of the first things that we wanted to work on was a block schedule because many of our students couldn't take advantage of courses we were offering because of a restriction on their 7-period day. So we have changed that, and that has gone very well. We've also established our Caddo workforce development team. I saw Ms. Bogosian, who leads that area. She's our director. She has a team of 2 people, and the 3 of them are really you all, and I'm going to say this very clearly, and I'm proud of this. We had the State Department in this building this week, and the State Department representative said, Mr. Burton, we are looking at Caddo for how this should be rolled out in the state. We're having other districts, when they call us, we're telling them call Caddo and see how workforce development, how not only you are rolling out the new policies, but how you're partnering with industry and offering really new experiences for high school students. So very proud of that team and all of our team in academics and the Career Center. And I know Mr. Berg is here as well. We've audited all of our courses that are offered at the high school, because if we're going to change, we can't continue teaching the same material. So we've audited those to ensure that they are aligned, or if not, they will align very soon to regional and state pathways. We've expanded our dual enrollment with our higher education partners, including North Louisiana, of course, Technical School, as well as LSUS, as well as SUSLA. We've established Caddo Works, and that's actually a link there. You can go to our website. You can go to the Chamber of Commerce's website. We're having a webinar very soon with businesses in our area about how our juniors and seniors can be paid to go into our local industries, earn high school credit, and work alongside mentors that can provide them with the experiences so they know what is available after high school. The other interesting thing that I think is very powerful is we just have a brain trust of people that are really focused around workforce development, and each month we meet together and we problem solve. What are we trying to accomplish over the next 2 or 3 months? What are the barriers getting in the way? Who needs to solve them? How do we know that we're successful? What are our goals for this semester, this year? And that Workforce Development Roundtable includes not only our staff members, but those partners from the Career Center, those partners from industry, from the Chamber of Commerce, all sitting down together and working. So now I think we're ready to go back to what you challenged us with at the very beginning. What about a new Career Center? I want to remind you that our workforce development model is not just about a Career Center. It has to be a hybrid approach where we begin in elementary and middle school preparing kids based upon what they're interested in, what their knowledge, what their passions are, what their abilities are, and also including an approach not only at the Career Center, but also at their high school. Every single high school has to change the workforce development courses and pathways offered. I shouldn't have to get on a bus and go to a Career Center to go and take classes that should be offered at my high school. So just I want to make sure that that's clear. As I'm proposing us to look at a new career center, we're also at the same time focused on what's being taught at every single high school. We're getting our tails kicked if we really think about locally, regionally, what experiences our kids are being given. If you look at just our neighbor next door, Bipstel's a fantastic facility. It's already 10 years old. It's hard to believe it was built in 2015. And Bossier will tell you, it's almost, you know, they almost need to expand it because the need is so great. Our Career Center was built in 1956. So Union High School, Union Junior High School, then was Caddo Vocational High School, became Caddo Career Center, and it's done well. We've certainly gotten our money's worth from that construction in 1956, but it's not presently going to meet the needs of the future. So when we began planning, if we're going to look at a new career center, what are all of the considerations that we need to make? Just in any real estate decision, it's got to be location, location, location. Is it a place where it can be in the center of town? Is it a place where it can operate morning, noon, and night? Is it easily accessible? And so we really looked at location. We also ensured that it was aligned and the facility could be aligned with workforce and economic needs. The design would be one that could easily pivot and be adaptable as technologies and future workforce challenges are made. We also wanted to ensure that access and transportation is easy, and we wanted to ensure that it was in an area where we could have sustainability as far as future needs and be able to have a high-quality building with a price that we could afford. Our recommendation to you is to consider the Louisiana Tech property that presently is housing our Caddo Virtual Academy. We have been in that facility for many years. If you look at that facility, it's a great building. We're not going to demolish that building. We're not going to do anything with that building. But what surrounds that building is what's really pretty incredible. If you look at the location, it's a prime location. It's off of 3132. It's very close to I-20. It's very close to industry. Matter of fact, it's surrounded by industry, including the new Amazon site. It's close to the airport. It's close to I-49. It's a perfect location. It's perfect acreage, approximately 30 acres. The site is very feasible for construction. We've walked that, well, hold on. I've not walked that entire site. Mr. White has walked that entire site because he's the knowledgeable one. But as an engineer, has looked to make sure that the site is feasible. It's, as I said, it's got great visibility. We do have to trim some trees around that roadway, but that's easy to do and it would be visible, and we already have a strong industry presence. Acquisition cost, I think, makes it very affordable because Louisiana Tech has no need for that building. They've told us that before, and so we think that they would be very amenable to work with us. It also has strong connectivity to industry and higher ed. We could easily have students going from that campus to Susselia, that campus to, as well as other higher ed locations around. And it has great long-term potential. That area of town is stable, that area of town is growing, and we do feel that it's a perfect location. But what are some of the challenges? I mean, when we really thought through this, there were some challenges. There are some visibility issues. You got to look for it right now. So we know that we'd have to clear that fence line and really ensure that we build it up. There's some traffic flow as far as ingress and egress that we will have to address because it is coming off of West 70th or Burt Coons, and you've got to hit that service road in order to address that. And we do think our plan, as well as working with those industry partners, the state and the city, we will be able to handle that challenge. Existing structure and the limitations of that structure, after really digging in, that's not a hindrance. We can build around it. We can add to it. It is in good shape. We've maintained it. zoned correctly, so we don't feel that that structure is going to do anything other than add for the possibility. There is going to be a perception of, oh, well, that's the CVA site. And what we will do is work with you on discovering really what would be the best relocation site for CVA during construction. And it may be a permanent relocation. And we are working with many possibilities right now. We'll be able to share those locations with you once we have more formal negotiations. Driving distance is one that someone has said is a concern, but when you really look at distance from all the high schools to CVA Tech location, we're just talking about maybe adding 5 minutes to a route. There's not a great deal of change. Matter of fact, it's going to be less drive for Huntington, less drive for Southwood, and everyone else. You see, the greatest would be Captain Shreve. It's going to add a little over 8 miles to that drive, but that's very doable. So all of the high schools in the distance is going to be strong. So we ask you to consider the virtual academy with the Louisiana Tech Shreveport Center as the site, because if we really look to the future, think about it, what it could be. Now, this is not anything professional. This is AI generated in our office. So we've not even allowed the experts to have fun with this. But look at what the site could be. We see it as a viable campus that we could expand, build, and again, it has the acreage needed to really meet our needs. We will discuss really toward the end what our ask is, but I'll go ahead and quickly tell you. Our ask is that you will bring a motion to allow staff, you approve a motion in November to allow staff to begin having conversations with Louisiana Tech about the acquisition of that. We know that we have the funds in hand to be able to begin this building, and we feel like we could build this building without adding any burden to the taxpayers. So with that, I'm open for any questions that any of you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Burton. Can we begin with committee members? Ms. Trammell?
I would like to commend you on the location, because when we first started talking about this, we were talking about a distance away, and I'm glad that you all looked to see and find somewhere that would be in the central part of the city. And I hope that will be of more access to all of our children.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because looking at the enrollment over there at Caddo Career, it seemed like a lot of kids, but we know because of them needing the credits that they need, so they couldn't get there, but we made arrangements to change it. And I look forward to see what we're gonna do with it, so I'll just wait on our motion and see what we'll do.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. And just to make sure it's clear, you brought up 2 challenges, their schedule, and another big challenge was awareness.
Right.
And so not only is our expansion at J.S. Clark going to have that, we're going to change how we do business at the elementary and middle schools. We're now mandating that tours occur at the Career Center for all high schools. All middle schools. So it's not up to a counselor to just decide, yes, I want to send my kids or not. That's now become a part of the fabric of how we do business at the middle school level. So there's a lot of intent around ensuring that we have not only the field trips there, but we're having increased career days, increased field trips to industry to see, and to have industry into our schools to partner.
Okay, just to make sure, since if this works out, we'll be losing a school in District 6. I'm hoping that we're already looking at other things we can do with that property, since we've invested so much in keeping Caddo Career open.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Trammell.
I don't have a button,
Oh.
so when you get through with him, if you don't mind.
Yes, ma'am. Chair recognizes Mr. Bowman.
Okay. I too agree with Mr. Mail on the awareness and my thoughts are, if this does happen, how do we get this out to those students, the parents of those that attend the virtual academy? That I've been asked about that before, if there were plans on closing, if it were plans on doing something different. I just want to go ahead and get that to them ahead of time before this, if this is something that comes to fruition. I'd rather make sure we, get to that quickly ahead of time before misperception is out. So
Will do. Will do. And matter of fact, we've been in contact with that administration. Is Mr. Lacy here? He was invited. I thought he was coming today, but we've been talking to them to ensure that they are aware, because I do think this could easily become a concern to parents if miscommunication
Right.
is not allowed. So we'll make sure that happens.
okay, that's it. Thank you.
Jasmine, as a committee member, do you mind if I go ahead of you, or? Thank you, ma'am. I had a question about some of the movable assets that are at the current location. We've spent quite a lot on some of the improvements there. I'm assuming that in the discussion that many of these improvements there can be removed and brought to a new facility. And then in your discussion in the community, have there been any pathways that have been identified that we previously have not offered? In other words, any industry-based credentials or career pathways that we currently don't have at CCTC that we would consider at the new location?
Yeah. I'd love come on, our dynamic duo. You want to?
On the spot.
That's right, on the spot.
On the spot. Good afternoon. Yes, sir, we're doing a deep dive into what we are currently offering at the Career Center. Of course, any of that equipment that can be easily moved to any new location. And of course, digging into those IBCs, what can we look back on for the homeschool, as Mr. Burton was saying earlier, what can we reach at the homeschool level, and then what can we really dive into at a deeper level at a possible new career center. So yes, all of those are great questions and answers that we're trying to reach ourselves and that we're digging into as a department.
If you had to guess, like some pathways that we know that we want to expand from our talk at the round table, come up and let's share that.
Good afternoon. We're definitely looking at expanding healthcare offerings. We know that that is one of the top 3 industries locally, and so we're looking to expand that so that we have a progression of classes and industry-based credentials that students will earn, which better aligns with the new bundle system that the state has looked at and has moved to. We're also, we've been very strategic the last few years in equipment and purchases that we've made. I've been very deliberate in making sure that all assets that we have purchased have wheels and are movable, so that if this was to happen, we would definitely be able to, we wouldn't have to reinvest, because as you said, the board's been incredible about funding our school, and we take that very seriously and make sure that we'll be good stewards of all of our equipment. So healthcare is definitely an industry that we are going to expand, and also manufacturing. We've got so many opportunities and partners locally with companies such as Gordon Incorporated. We've got opportunities with Bentler, and we're excited about this potential location because, as you know, there's Tire Rack, there's Ivan Smith, Coca-Cola, and then the new Amazon distribution center. So literally, with the work that Jessica's doing and the partnerships and the way the state's moving toward more work-based learning, kids could walk from our campus to some of these facilities and partner, and it can do nothing but improve what we do for kids.
Is there also additional discussion about aerospace engineering or mechanical, including drone technology? We've got a massive Air Force base here. We've got an airport, metro aviation. And these are future-forward jobs that are extraordinarily high-paying.
We're currently, we offer the drone technologies, and I'm part of, you mentioned Todd Stanbury and Metro Aviation, and there is a huge movement locally to bring in aviation mechanics, also rotor engine repair, like that Metro Aviation constructs from the ground up, the medical helicopters. And there aren't areas in the state where you can find mechanics for rotor engines. And so we're leading the way with our local partners to develop a curriculum for that. We're modeling after, there's 39 schools in the state of Utah alone that are working heavily with aviation mechanics, rotor engine pathways. We're working with them to see what we can bring here with SkyWest coming to this area and all of the, and Susla with their power plant and airframe certifications. They're a perfect partner and lots of opportunities. So yes, sir, to answer your question, we're excited about the work that we're doing in that
Because
area.
I think that would be a huge win. I mean, these are extraordinarily high-paying jobs.
Yes.
And many of them are local.
Yes.
Yeah, I think what's important for everyone on the board to realize, when we say we're auditing high school coursework and we're auditing what happens at the Career Center, it's so that there's alignment with state and regional needs. And when we look at those needs, we're ensuring that there's not only going to be just a few high-paying jobs, but their needs are going to be there to be able to have a sustainable wage of a high needs job for a long time. And in our region,
Yeah.
that's right. And so we're very intentional about that. Matter of fact, just today, I had a meeting with Justin Dixon about future needs for industry partners. We're constantly communicating with the state as well as our regional partners. And the courses that we align there will be those that are driving our industry needs. And it also will be designed in a way that we can pivot quickly. So there's going to be a lot of intent around the design, so as, again, this industry changes, and with artificial intelligence, we all know that there are going to be jobs available 2 years from now that we hadn't even thought of. So we've got to be able to be prepared for those.
Thank you all. Chair recognizes President Green.
Thank you, sir. Actually, you were getting at what I was getting to with the AI thing. I know AutoCAD was a big thing at the Career Center when I was in high school. I'm like, now with AI, I'm sure it's not as hot probably as it was back then. So being able to be prepared to change almost at the turn of a dime
Yes.
is very important. And then, of course, with that comes money. So are we looking at future partnerships with other companies maybe that, you know?
Yes, I mean, we have great relationships not only with members who provide, services as far as thought partners, but also as we are getting ready to break ground with this and planning, we're already in the stages of saying who needs to be at the table around the design, who needs to be around the table as far as the pathways, who's involved in every major sector from, as we've said, health occupations, the medical careers. How do we bring the right people in order to build those relationships and partnerships, manufacturing the same way? So yes, ma'am,
Right.
we will have those.
Right, because if they can give us, so a lot of times some companies may give us equipment to kind of work on. If they can give us a little funds with that equipment.
We don't want little funds.
Yeah, big funds.
We want big partnerships here.
Yeah, so that's always good. How many acres is the current Career Center? I'm sure Mr. White knows that.
Actually, no, ma'am. I don't have
Oh,
that.
you don't
off the
have
top
it?
of my head, but I believe it's in the ballpark of 16,
16 acres?
which would include the track that's,
Oh, that walking track that's out there? So I do remember that we have that track. So that goes with the school, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
There is a lease for the property of the library.
There was a what?
There is a lease for the property
Property-
of the library.
Oh, really?
That's on our property also, but I believe that lease is a 99-year lease.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So we won't leave, we won't be here to,
I don't plan to be here for. have
yeah,
that
we
lease
won't be
renewed.
here to see.
Have the gross square footage, but
So
I
let me
will
ask
get
you
that
this.
information for you if you would like. I'll have it for you tomorrow morning.
Yeah, if it's around, if you say 16 to 20 acres, that's fine. I mean, I can
believe
deal.
that's where it's at.
Yeah, okay. So, with this being almost 30 acres, what else do we see other than, how many acres are, I mean, what's the square footage of the expansion that you're looking to look at this?
Well, really, since the scope hasn't been developed, I wouldn't want to answer
Answer,
that
okay.
until we decide what we're looking for. I believe the one in Bossier is around the 120,000 square foot mark. Is that correct?
Okay,
130.
So looking at cost-wise, we would see something, I believe, that is adequate space to do stuff, but we really want to sit down with the team and say, what needs to be included? What does an AI facility look like? How much square footage do they need? What are the basic programs that we want to include? And my personal belief, and I haven't had any direction from my boss on this, but you would start off with the sky's the limit, okay? And what would we do where Caddo would be the shining star for everyone? And then if we can't afford that, then we look at scaling it back if we have
okay.
to. Because, I mean, you get down to one thing, it certainly, we can't come up with hopes that exceed what we're budgetary confined to.
right.
But start at first and shoot for the stars.
Yeah,
And
'cause-
see what you can, see what we need and what we would anticipate the needs being 10 years from now.
Yeah,
So if we build something for today, it's outdated.
right. They have something that they sell they do have a greenhouse or something out there. We've got that in this plan as well, right?
well, we have it at the Career Center now, and we'll continue.
Yeah, that's what I'm,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I mean, those were kind of my questions. I'm hoping we can get a groundbreaking going real soon if we can afford it.
Absolutely.
All righty. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam President. One of my questions is the Louisiana State Legislature allows for capital outlay requests for economic development, and I think those are due November 1st. And if we have a plan and property in place, we can make that request for next year. And I think other community partners, to President Green's comment, might want to be invested in this. I mean, I'm thinking of companies that do HVAC who have had such a need for employees that they've developed their own career and technology mini centers. I think they would like to fund or house something. I also think of places like Ballantine Ambulance. If they give us an ambulance and we get people trained to be EMTs or med techs, they get a feed. I mean, they get an immediate payback on that. Willis Knighton, hopefully would look at a collaborative partnership. Oshner, I think some of the schools as well. And then finally, I think you could also potentially do a capital request from the Parish Commission, who seems sometimes, no offense to any of my friends on the commission, but they seem to have more funds than common sense sometimes and let money rain from the sky. But this is a true economic development drive, and so hopefully they would be willing to partner with us. Chair now recognizes.
Wait, I hope they would be willing to give us some money after that comment.
Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. I believe Dr. Vincent is next.
Okay, I just want to bring up this point and then work backwards. Would we please post some of this in board docs? Because it's better to have the questions prepared prior to just trying to develop questions on the spot. So I mentioned that a couple of times. It's best to have it on board docs so we can, because this is good information. And I think overall, the location is great because I think the industrial park is right there. But I thought President Green was going to hit on my question. With the current location, we don't know the cost. I know we don't maybe know the cost yet of moving versus the cost of building right there in their current location, if that makes sense.
Well, let me say one thing. Well, as far as moving, you're saying moving to another existing site that we have?
No, that is an option of, well, no, sir.
Or are you
That,
just saying
build
what's going to
there.
be the construction cost?
Right, so for an example, building right there on Union Street, how much would that cost versus us purchasing a new property, doing some
I think it goes
outfitting?
back to location, location, location. And that we would have to, especially when you're looking at specialized equipment, even though a lot, it's on wheels, we've tried to do a good job in having the forethought when we're purchasing, but there's still going to be an issue of moving an entire vocational program to a different site as you construct. So I think that's off the table. I don't think as far as location or feasibility, that's even a concern. When we went through and looked at all of the factors, this alone is the best. You know, as far as price, can you give a ballpark as far as square footage price? And
If we're looking at something comparable, although updated from what Bossier had done, somewhere in the ballpark of 120,000 square feet, we were thinking of somewhere between $375 and $425 a square foot, which we just bid the wing at Donnie Bickham, and it came in below that. And some of these spaces, I would anticipate, would be larger areas, not as many
specialty.
as partition walls, so your price can come down. So it really, but before I start quoting prices, I've always been let's develop a scope first. So I'm not just shooting a number in the dark to you. I'd want to get an idea of what you're looking for, what we're trying to do, and I can give you a better educated idea of what it's going to be.
Okay, thank you so much, thank you.
You mind if I?
Mr. White, for what it's worth, the Bidstall property cost $36 million when they built it 10 years ago, but I realize those were not the same dollars. Yeah. Chair now recognizes Mr. Bowman.
Okay, sorry about that. Well, she kind of, you all kind of hit on what I was about to speak on as far as healthcare and Valentine, of course, Arcadian Ambulance is here too. And with some of the workforce development discussions we've been having over at my other hat, over at the hospital, then I would like to make sure that we have, that it's kind of lining up. So I'd like to make sure that them and Willis Knighton both are at the table.
they are already our partners, and the only thing that we would do is expand that partnership. So we are wholeheartedly going to be hat in hand in the hallways of all of this.
Okay. And it won't be lift funds,
No.
President Green.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Chair now recognizes Mr. Mill.
Okay. Mr. Byrd, just so I understand, you said we're going to have some of these offerings in every high school, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, one of the things that I've found out, I've been around here a long time, and then some of the classes that are offered teach you how to lace your shoes, and others teach you how to make shoes. Will there be shoemaking classes? I hope you feel where I'm coming from. In the school sites, or we just got to get laces?
Oh, no,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah, I just
I know
wanna
what you're
see-
I know
I
what
see
you're
it
saying.
happen, so I just
Sure.
want to make sure I'm feeling the right thing and I'll be comfortable.
No,
with
there's not
saying-
going to be a less than
Okay.
opportunity for students. We want every, matter of fact, I had the opportunity right before I came here to talk to our student leaders who are represented from every high school.
Okay.
And I asked them the same three questions, by the way, that I've asked the community. What are we doing well? What are we not doing well? What do we need to improve? And I had some high school students tell me some things in their school we are not doing well.
Okay.
And I had a couple of them talk about their courses
We
offered.
just had that the other day.
And
yes.
we discussed what are the solutions to that. So that's not only a workforce area concern, that's also a core concern, because
Okay.
some of the students ask about foreign language. Mr. Burton, why can we only have Spanish? Why, I want to take, but my neighbor across, who's sitting at the same table with me, who attends another school, she can take Spanish, she can take French, she can take German, she can take, so we are having conversations around how, in 2025, we can do it. It just takes planning, it takes strategic scheduling, and the using technology correctly. But no, ma'am, we will not provide less than
Okay,
for
thank
students.
you. Okay.
Thank you, committee. Seeing no other questions, we now move on to 1.05 and 1.06. Next on our agenda, it's facilities enhancement, followed by property updates. And welcome to the podium, Mr. Greer. And congratulations on your wife. That was such
Thank you.
a pleasure
Thank
this morning to see her win.
That was special.
Very
Very
much so.
special. So appreciate you guys' support on that. So good afternoon, good evening. First and foremost, won't you guys please pardon us with the noise that you hear down the hall. Note to self, never schedule a meeting this time of day while we got construction in the building going on, or we make sure we communicate to them in advance to make sure that they're going to kind of delay that start time. So again, thank you for allowing me to present to you this afternoon. I'm going to give you some information around facility enhancements as well as just some general property updates, and then I'll turn it over to our listing agent, Ms. Laura Brightwell, who will bring you listed property updates. So as we think around facility enhancements, first I want you guys to kind of take into consideration, we don't just go willy-nilly thinking that, hey, it's time to do this, it's time to do that. A lot of these, I would say a majority of these enhancements are driven not by, just the principal's desire to have different things, but by need. And so the things that I'm going to be discussing with you are simply or pretty much being dictated by current needs on these individual campuses. So as we look at Walnut Hill Elementary, those of you that have been listening to Ms. Bell in her absence, she's been talking for the last year and a half around how crowded it is in that cafeteria. Walnut Hill uniquely has had to start lunch much earlier than most campuses, and by that same token, they've had to finish lunch later than most campuses. So we took advantage of an opportunity for Mr. White and his team to really engage the principal, our school director, even our cafeteria director, our CNP program director, Ms. Lynch, around unique needs for this particular location. One, we did discover that simply they were operating with ineffective numbers of lines out there, serving lines. Also, we looked at their dining space. This area doubled as a cafetorium, so you had a lot of space that was being encumbered by the current auditorium that they had out there, which is basically just a stage area. So the team came up with a very, very good plan to increase the number of serving lines. I think they have 3 fully functioning serving lines there. We took space along that left wall. If you look at that picture, they added some washing stations, which allow kids to move through line a little bit quicker. But if you look at the overall dining area there, ladies and gentlemen, it's massive. It is humongous. So they have almost room to spare. And so with that population right now, I think they're upwards of 1,400 students, they still have some room to grow and be able to accommodate the lunch shifts in a manner that gets them in and out efficiently. It's not too taxing on the cafeteria staff to where they're going from shift to shift to shift, not having any time in between, for breaks, or to even just kind of wipe down the tables as they prepare for that next group to come in. So everybody seems to be very pleased with the outcome on this project, which we finished this past August. Now, you heard me reference the cafetorium piece. We did have to rob Peter to pay Paul. By that, I mean we had to do away with that stage area. So now we find ourselves charged with making sure that we're able to bring this campus up to the standard that's being currently displayed at our other major K-8s like Keithville, Turner, which both of those have huge populations. So those populations are directly, going to be able to accommodate, or the campuses, I should say, should be able to directly accommodate not only the student body, but when you have things like assemblies, major programs and events, those auditoriums need to be able to do the same thing. So our plan is the picture that you see here on the slide. This is their current area where they have their tennis courts. We're going to demolish that space there, and we're going to build a brand-new auditorium on that campus. And this is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood, and Mr. White can correct me if I'm off base with my numbers, but we're thinking it should hold roughly about 600 kids, and that'll keep it pretty much in line with what we're seeing as far as that capacity limit at Turner and both Keyfield. So what we're projecting there, plans and scope, we're underway with that. And again, the team has been in communication constantly with the principal, school director. So, you know, we're getting all of that input that we need to have on the front end to make sure this is exactly what they want and feel that they're going to need on that campus. And so we're projecting to hopefully be able to complete this project late summer of 2026, possibly even early fall, just depending on whether there are some issues that we can't control that might cause some unforeseeable delays. J.S. Clark Academy, you guys recall, once the board approved the closure of Queensboro Elementary, so that consolidation took place with transferring that student population over to J.S. Clark. J.S. Clark is now a K-8 campus. However, they are starting with a phased-in approach as far as those middle grades being instituted on the campuses. This year, they're taking it in only the 6th graders, so they're K-6. Next year, they will bring in the 7th grade. Following year, they will bring in the 8th grade. So we knew going in that with that increased population, we were going to have to make some modifications there. We had the foresight in communication with CNP Director again, Ms. Lynch, to really give attention to, okay, how can we avoid some of the issues that were being displayed or encountered over at Walnut Hill with cafeteria lines and delays. So one of the things we went in was to add an additional serving line. We also made some modifications to just the overall aesthetics in the cafeteria. Back when I was a principal back in, I don't want to date myself and say how long ago that's been, but the windows just in that cafeteria area coming off the breezeway into the side that faced the courtyard, they were horrendous. But we made the best of it. Some of that old plexiglass material that was in place, some of it was so foggy you couldn't even hardly see out of it. We attacked that. The principal identified that as one of the major areas she wanted to see an improvement and enhancement with. We also did some major modifications with the ceiling in the cafeteria as well as some enhanced lighting capabilities in there. So we were very pleased with the outcome. The principal and her staff, cafeteria staff, were very pleased as well. And I got some pictures coming, so don't fret, you guys will get to kind of take a look at that. We also made some modifications to their auxiliary gym. The flooring was in need of replacement. The ceiling was in terrible shape. That original ceiling that they had, somewhere along the line, the kids figured out they can toss balls. I wouldn't say toss balls. They could fire balls up at the ceiling, and it would tear those some of those fibers, and you could leave that stuff exposed. So it became very unsightly over the years, and so it was definitely an area that we felt needed attention, and also some lighting enhancements that took place there. And that project was also completed in August of 2025, just in time for the kids to come onto the campus. Main gym, now that they're going to be a K-8, they will take on that role of PE classes, the kind of PE classes where students dress out, that being middle school. Also looking at middle school competition. So we are having some ongoing preparations and modifications that will take place to their locker room area. Steve and his team have already done some restroom renovations in both of those areas on the girls and boys side. So the next thing, we have to make sure that, you know, they're given appropriate locker room space, lockers to hold, you know, clothing, bags and so forth for the different sports, football, baseball, softball, I'm sorry, not baseball, but softball, track, and basketball. And so just to make sure that it's consistent with what we see at all of our other middle schools and K-8 campuses. So that will be an ongoing process. We made some modifications for the library. We realized that the library that they currently have on the ground floor would not be able to accommodate that entire student body, especially when you think about the middle grades. So we took a little bit of a different approach in collaboration with academics and our library supervisor. We really stretched the imagination a little bit, and we came up with the concept of just making sure that, one, we had the sufficient space, which we found that dedicated upstairs on the 3rd floor. And so for the middle school students, they're going to have the benefit of what we call a digital library. So this is not going to be that traditional kind of library where you walk in and see rows and rows of shelving and just tons of books on those shelves. They're really going to have access to various forms of digital media that they can explore their particular interests, research, and do the things that they would like to do to just kind of explore their knowledge base. So we're very excited about that in the way that it came out, and that too was completed in August of this year. So these are pictures here. This is the cafeteria. You can see the windows. You can actually see outside of them to the right there. That's the courtyard area. You can see the ceiling. The ceiling was in horrible condition and definitely something that was in need of attention. You can also see the lighting that's in place. And this is one of the lines that we ended up adding to the overall scope of operations back there. There's another line on the back side of that freezer that allows them the ability to have 2 functioning lines as kids are coming through. So it may not sound like a whole lot, but guess what? It makes a difference to that cafeteria staff and to the teachers when they're on duty in there, because they're able to get the kids in and out with those lines, get into that dining area, enjoy their lunch, and then get outside in time to enjoy a little bit of a lunch recess. This is the gymnasium. The main gymnasium is on the left. We did some bleachers, which they were replaced. I think, Steve, if I'm not mistaken, was that this past year? Okay, so they were replaced back in 2024, and they look fantastic. Sight better than what we had when I was there. Again, I'm not going to date myself. You can look at the auxiliary gym on the right. You can see that new flooring there. You can look up and see the ceiling and the lighting. No holes at this point. Nobody's managed to fire those balls up there and start tearing that thing up. So, again, very pleased with those outcomes. This is a look at the digital library on 3rd floor, and the staff has the ability to kind of maneuver and manipulate different spaces that they like to, make a little bit more inviting for kids. But this was the finished product here in terms of what we were able to come up with. And so they kind of have I guess, if you will, a little bit of an edge as far as the other middle schools and Ks, because right now they are fully digital in that capacity, and it gives them tons of opportunities to really explore some unique things. This is the restroom renovation on the right. That was down, as you heard me mention earlier, in the locker rooms. And so Stephen's team did a fantastic job of laying that out with the designers and getting that project completed. As we continue, down at Bickham Middle School, we had some library enhancements there. So again, just a reminder, at the end of this current school year, Blanchard Elementary will be slated for closure, and consolidation will occur to send those students to the Donnie Bickham campus, which will transform it to a fully functioning K-8 campus. We got the jump on an opportunity to make some library enhancements to make it a dual space for the lower elementary kids and the elementary students, as well as for those students on the middle side. And I got to say again, you're going to hear me kind of repeat this theme. The collaboration between Mr. White, his team, and the campus administration, school director was phenomenal. We came up, we got around the table, walked the spaces, and discussed what was possible, what timelines looked like, and we really, walked away, kind of beating our chests a little bit when all was said and done. They recently had a reopening or grand opening ceremony out on the campus a couple of weeks ago, and were able to do a ribbon cutting and actually introduce this new space to district staff, community partners, even the former principals. We got tons of great comments around just how the actual job and the project turned out. And that was completed last month. So we've talked about the new wing, where we are with that. The bid process has taken place. That was completed at the October 21st board meeting. We plan to break ground on construction on November the 17th, which is this month. That's right around the corner. Staff is coordinating with communications and the superintendent's office to make sure that we have an opportunity to do an official groundbreaking ceremony. So you all will be invited to that, and so invitations and all of that should be forthcoming to make sure you plan accordingly. You don't want to miss that event. Now, something that this modification presents to us is the opportunity to really impact traffic on Old Mooringsport Road. Right now, all traffic, commuters, community members, buses, everything is coming off of Old Mooringsport Road and pouring onto that campus and trying to get back onto that road once they exit the campus. We have an opportunity, thanks to Steve and his team collaborating with our designers, to construct a roadway off of the back northwest corner of the campus. Will stretch across property that we own and connect to Highway 1. That's going to be a tremendous benefit for the campus, not only for the campus, but for the parents that will be dropping kids off, because they can come off of Highway 1. There'll be an area where they can dedicate a drop-off point for those lower elementary babies in the new wing. They can also continue on to drop kids off at the middle side and then continue on out and exit off of the campus. And when all is said and done, it actually minimizes the amount of interaction between those buses coming in and out, as well as with the basic traffic. So that always cuts down on the possibility for accidents, unfortunate situations. So we're very excited about that. Our team is also coordinating with our state legislators. We have the plan drawn up. We think it's a viable plan. We were able to have a meeting last week. We met with some members of the Department of Transportation and Development, met with the mayor, had district staff, superintendent joined us as well, and had some really good dialogue around what this looks like, what the timeline is going to be like, but more importantly, what's going to be the funding source. So we know that this is something that we can't pay for when we talk around the safety aspect. And I kind of got a little bit ahead of myself there. We realize, ladies and gentlemen, from a safety standpoint, highway traffic coming off of Highway 1 is, a lot of cases exceeds 65 miles per hour. So just imagine some woman, grandparent, trying to turn off of Highway 1 to get onto that little road coming to the backside of the campus. Or man. So things could get really scary. And so one of the things that was identified was the need for us to have turn lanes. And so this is going to, unfortunately come at a cost. And so that's where, we are in terms of just having and engaging in conversations with our local legislators and state legislators around what could be done to help us locate a funding source to make sure that we can fulfill the vision with this project. Everybody recognizes the enhancement is going to benefit Old Mooringsport Road, as well as, just the overall appearance and functionality of the campus. So we'll keep you guys posted on that as additional information comes in. So you heard me earlier, these are just some pictures here. You can see on the right, this was the ribbon cutting ceremony for the library enhancements at Donnie Bickham. Over to the left there, you can see just some of the enhancements. This is just kind of the circulation desk area, plus you have some digital media areas. You got bookshelves on the back. But what you don't see over the far right, and I'm sorry I didn't include pictures of that, you see all of the space dedicated, for tables and students to congregate. Even teachers could have, small settings for classroom instruction there. You got the shelving for the books. And further on to the back, there's an area, like I said, dedicated for those middle grade students. They even were able to build in a professional learning area for the teachers and staff. So as principals may want to come in and have professional development with small groups or even medium-sized groups, they have the space that's dedicated for those kinds of activities now. Now we're progressing on over to the property right outside across the street here from us, or at least adjacent to us, 2020 Midway Avenue. This used to be the old lumber yard that sits next door. We have multi-phase projects that are going to take place in order to complete what we imagine or envision for this new facility here. This is going to be the location of our transportation hub when all is said and done. Phase 1, the demolition and abatement process was completed this past August. Had the team put together plans on that, and Steve kept the vendors and contractors to a strict timeline in terms of being able to get that completed. Our next piece of this particular phase is going to involve the fueling station and the driveway tie-in. Fueling station, we will be able to add more pumps versus what we have out here, and it'll be a little bit more functional as far as buses being able to navigate the space to access those pumps. When we talk about the driveway tie-in, what we envisioned was, or imagined was, our buses will now have the ability, when this is completed, to turn off of Joplin, traverse the backside of the property, come through, go out the backside there, and still move to that area where we have buses parked in our main lot back there. They can even leave that space, cut across the new property here, and access Midway Avenue. What this potentially does for us is it keeps a lot of that bus traffic out of our main parking lot out here, so that, again, less wear and tear on the concrete and pavement out there, and also minimizing just that congestion that comes from when visitors are coming through, even staff are coming through trying to park it, either in the morning or in the afternoon when they're exiting. So Steve and his team are slated to get that project kicked off, or that portion of the project kicked off sometime this month. Phase 2 involves the service area being constructed, and parts and storage area will be constructed, and finally that administrative office will be constructed. We're looking to try and have that completed, at least projecting around August of 2027. The culminating aspect of this project, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Phase 3, and that's us repurposing the current transportation site. So we've not yet begun to have conversations around what this is actually going to be or what the space will be dedicated for, but just know that we will start to develop some ideas and get some plans together and present you guys with that, so you'll have all of the up-to-date information just as we're getting it. So I want to remind you all, when we pitched this to the full board a while back, one of the first questions was, what's the cost? Second question was, what's going to be the funding source? Well, unfortunately, we still don't have costs for you because a lot of this stuff is projected. Does us no good to give you a cost here today, and guess what? We start construction about 12 months down the line, and those prices have changed significantly. So as we move a little bit closer to that, we'll be able to give you costs per these particular aspects of the project. Now, funding source, we're not going to ask the board for any additional funds or special funds to be dedicated for this. Mr. White, I like to call him the genie in the bottle, is very skilled at being able to, and I guess I shouldn't be telling his business, he's very skilled at being able to find savings from current projects. In a lot of cases, we're able to cover needs, emergency, or priority situations just based off of the fact that he's been able to find some of those savings. So that's our plan to be able to bring this process here to fruition. Okay, so I'm shifting now, ladies and gentlemen, to property updates. And this is just some historical stuff here. Everybody's pretty much been aware. Queensboro Elementary, the sale closed on September the 9th at a cost of $1.3 million. Barrett Padilla Academy, that sale closed on September the 30th, $425,000. Newton Smith Elementary. Right now, Newton Smith Elementary is in the second cycle of a bid process, and the minimum is set at $832,000. That represents 80% of the overall appraised value, which is $1,040,000. And bidding closes on that on November the 13th. To date, we have not received any bids on this particular piece of property. So if we get to the end of that closing date and we realize that no bids still have been submitted, staff is prepared to make a recommendation to Mr. Burton in consultation with our listing agent as far as what the next steps should be with that property. Blanchard Elementary and 81st Street ECE Center. Realizing that both of these sites are slated to close at the end of this current school year, we're trying to get a jump on things as far as when folks start approaching us around the potential use or acquisition of these properties. So we've already secured appraisals for both of these properties. You can see Blanchard Elementary has appraised for $1,060,000, and 81st Street has appraised for $949,000. So we've had some soft conversations here and there on both of these properties, but nothing is concrete in terms of just somebody willing to commit something in writing or give a date or time when they actually want to do so. But as we continue to get information, we will certainly make sure that we're apprising the superintendent, and he will apprise you guys in turn. I'd also like to mention, with the closure of the 81st Street ECE Center, that's going to bring about a need for modifications at the Atkins Elementary campus. We were able to visit with that principal. Ms. Trammell came out and walked with us briefly last week. I had to dig at you. So we were able to walk with Steve's team, Tommy Smith from the maintenance side. Dr. Mitchell from the academic side, and also with the principal again, just to really just kind of walk and look at what's the available amount of space on that campus right now, what's currently being used, and what do we anticipate that's going to make the shift from 81st Street ECE when it comes offline. So this is just the first of several meetings that we'll have. The principal has graciously sent us some information that we've requested, so we have some additional points of view to take into consideration around, one, what she's already doing and what she kind of envisions as far as what will happen when these kids transfer over there. So we will keep you guys apprised of that as well. Okay, at this time, I will take a pause from the podium and turn it over to our listing agent, Ms. Laura Brightwell with UL Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Greer.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just have a couple of little updates. The Norris Ferry property, we did list that late this summer. It is still up for sale, but I'm confident that we will get some activity on it. The Stoner Hill property, we do.
What's that listing price for?
4.79 million.
Okay.
So it's a big piece of property and probably any.
How many acres again?
20.
Okay.
So there's probably developers that are interested in it, but they have to run their pro formas and look at it.
Absolutely.
It takes years
Yes,
sometimes
ma'am.
to do that. I know I've been working on a piece of property out there I've been working on it for 2 years now. So,
understand.
yeah. Stoner Hill, it is still up for sale. Ooh, excuse me. Oh, sorry. There we go. Yes, Stoner Hill is also still for sale for $923 million. Listen to me, $923,000. I wish. Good Lord.
Hey.
I'm so sorry.
Hey.
That is the word salad.
That's okay.
That's the
It's just
dyslexia in
Wednesday.
me coming out. That's the word salad dyslexia in me coming out. So, but $923,000. Northside Elementary, the old site. We do still have that under contract. That contract, they're supposed to close by February 2026. And I did touch base with the buyers, and they said they are still on track. And then we have Oil City that is still listed for sale as well. We also have the former Pine Valley Elementary, and we do have an offer on that property. So the Pine Valley Elementary, we did receive an offer for $13,000. The property is listed for $69,700. We did speak to the appraiser, and he did sign. We let him know that it had sort of what the offer was for, that it was above a certain number, and he said that he would be willing to sign off on an appraisal that would meet this need. He felt like this was a very fair offer for that.
If I may ask, did we counter offer?
We have not. And there is good reason for that. I think that when you look at the appraised value for it and the offer, I don't think that there's room for it. When you look at some of the issues of the property,
Okay.
that the property has.
Okay.
And potentially has as well.
Okay.
Hey, I was going in 88.
So do y'all have any questions for me?
We'll begin with committee members. Committee members, if you have any questions, either for Mr. Greer or our listing agent, Ms. Rice?
Yeah.
Ms. Brightwell, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I answered either one.
I just want to say, with the Donnie Bickham project, that's going to be greatly appreciated for the Blanchard area to have that. I mean, you have parents that start, they're on that road as early as an hour, getting their kids picked up. So I think that's going to be very much so appreciated. The sooner we can break ground, the better. So Mr. White, kudos for you for coming up with such a great plan so people can enter and exit off in one and out. I'm sure you'll have it mapped out great. Now, you said you did mention a bus loop, something about buses coming in and out of the Donnie Bickham area. Will it be one side just for buses? How would that be?
Yes, ma'am. As it sits right now, the new loop would be for cars only. The buses would enter off Old Mooringsport Road, as they currently do, but even
Right.
right now, buses aren't the problem. It's the parents.
The parents that
back
bag
up
all the way-
cars.
yeah.
They'll back up from the main entrance of the car drop-off to approximately the new fire station.
Right.
That's just east of there.
And if that if the fire trucks have to get out, that causes a problem in itself.
It would.
Yeah.
But when we look at what we are planning now, there are roughly 48 vehicles on average that stack up on Old Mooringsport Road. We looked at taking the size vehicle of a Suburban, thinking that'd be the biggest thing that would be out there. And on the new drive, with one lane of traffic, we'll be able to stack up 100. So
Okay.
even with the growth anticipated for Donnie Bickham, if we get in the second lane for it, we'd be able to stack probably 150 before those cars would have to start zippering back together so that they arrive at the drop-off station as a single car. We don't want cars, 2 lanes of drop-off and children running between
The cars,
vehicles.
right, got you.
ma'am.
And that's the next thing. How many kids does Blanchard, because Blanchard's not my school, so how many kids about does Blanchard have now? Do you know?
Just over 300.
Well, that's quite a few kids.
I can get you the exact number. I want to say right around about 320, maybe 340.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. President. I have to say, I really think that they look like quality enhancement at Donnie Bickham, and I want to commend you all for your work. I just personally, I'm a little heartbroken when I see a library without books in it, but this is because I was born in a different century, and I completely do not understand an entirely digital library. The chair now recognizes Mr. Bowman.
Just real quick, good job on Mr. White, but I just wanted to ask about it's been closed, Pine Valley's been closed since '87, and that has been no activity out there, and all material and everything else, it's already been gone.
Oh, Pine Valley?
Yes.
There's barely a building left.
That's
It's
not-
mostly wooded and trees growing up through what little remains of the building may be. So you can barely even see that there was a building there.
That's what I'm saying. It's almost as old as I am, so.
I'm a little older, so.
Yeah. Well, how many acres is that out there? You got that on hand? If not, you can email it later.
I can run into my seat and get you the
I think we
folder
just-
real quick.
I don't know. What staff recommends, I think we just need to do it and move on.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. And we are retaining mineral rights.
We have to.
Okay, yes, thank you. Chair now recognizes Dr. Vincent. Oh, my apologies, Mr. Mill.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Since you wanted to make sure you let the people know that I didn't stay out there because we ride in the cold and I had to leave. But I wanted to just say something for Ms. Bell since she's not here. And she worked really hard to make sure that what happened at Walnut Hill would be a standout piece. I just want y'all to know, in the words of Dottie Bell, the sweet babies are well taken care of at Walnut Hill. Now, we're moving to the sweet babies at Atkins, and the walkthrough that you all, I see is not gonna be costing us a whole lot of money to do the upgrades and changes that we need to make at the school. So that's a real good thing, but there are some rare cases at 81st that a lot of people don't pay any attention to, nor do they know the conditions of some of the children that are there. So we will be making sure that the handicap accessibility for each one of those children will be, well, y'all doing this, so I'm assuming that's correct. Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure, is this being recorded?
I would say, Ms. Feibel.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
But yes, you're correct, Ms. Jamel. And we have been in communication with Dr. Lockett and her team, so they will definitely be able to give us all of the particulars around the uniqueness of those programs.
Okay.
The equipment aspects, the accessibility issues. So we don't anticipate running into significant space issues, but the modifications that we do anticipate are going to come around, just being able to accommodate the programs as they will be brought over.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Trammell. Chair now recognizes Dr. Vincent.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Mr. Greer, I missed the last thing you said about Newton Smith, and do you know how many acres Newton Smith is?
I want to say Newton Smith is right about 12 acres.
Okay, and I know it's closing the bid, and so how many rounds of bids do we go through? I know it drops down. I think I remember our policy about that.
Typically, we do 2, and from that one, we have the option to do the third. And at the third one, we could go as low as 50% of the appraised value. However, given the time that the property has been, on the
Vacant,
market and just been vacant,
Gotcha.
we're kind of thinking something else as opposed to going with that third round of a bid.
Yes, sir. And this is totally different. I meant to ask earlier about renewable energy when we do the new structures. I know Donnie Bickham is way down the road because of design and all that, but say for an example, for the Career Center, would we be able to include renewable energy, because I know energy cost is very expensive. So would that be an option within the design to allow us to maybe do that to save some money? I know people have different opinions about renewable energy, but I mean just the solar panels when I'm being specific.
Yes, sir. My group is looking at something that we want to run as a pilot program and see what type of energy savings we get. But the first thought that came to mind for us was a good location for solar panels would be on top of any of the canopies we have. We don't have penetrations for electrical or any vent stacks that we have to get around. It's not since they're aluminum, it's not a situation that you would, every few years, have to remove the solar panels to re-roof the building.
Right.
So we were thinking the canopies would be a very good candidate for that. And we're currently discussing a pilot program to see if we can pick one, get a square footage of area for the canopies, try to partner with AEP SWEPCO, see what we can do on that, meter it, so we'd know what our electrical generation is and what type savings that would produce to the school board. But yes, sir, we're already working on that.
Yes, sir. I know they want to wrap their arms around you on that one. Huh?
Well, we're trying to think of anything we can to save money.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And, if that's a viable situation before we just jump out whole hog and do it,
Right.
I want to make sure that it is a viable option for what we would have to spend to install it. What is our rate of return?
Right.
So, yes,
Yes, sir.
we're looking into that already.
Okay, thank you so much. And just as I'm, you hit the gavel on me already too? I just wanted to say this. I really like, as I read the presentation, I hate to go backwards a little bit about the Career Center. I think it's a great idea because I think we have an economic responsibility, economic opportunity as well, and I think this would be a great catalyst to help with that. So the more I read about it, the more I'm getting excited. So that's why I was thinking about the renewable energy, and let's move forward once we know how much the coins are going.
Exactly. Then what we wanted to do is bring to the board what it costs to install for, say, a 400 or 500 square foot area, what the energy produced, then what other areas that would be similar to this, because we do not recommend putting it just on the roofs of buildings, that every 20 years we have to pull all that off to be able to re-roof the building.
Right.
So, but those canopies, which are a layer of aluminum, 3 inches of insulation and another layer of aluminum, that would be a prime candidate for where to put those. And, you know, keeps them out of the yard. I'm sure you've seen the one along 49 that's just the field that's covered in solar panels. So, yeah,
Right.
we're investigating it
Yeah,
to see
yes,
what the
sir.
rate of return would be and is it viable for us.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, and I commend the chair and the staff for the vision of building something new in Caddo. I think we've all been chopping at the bit to see some things with the new designs, and I think with the pilot program, so hats off to you all. And so thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Vinson. These are great questions and great discussion. Seeing no more questions, we now move on. Oh,
I'm sorry,
My
could I
apologies.
get back with you, Mr. Bowman? The acreage at Pine Valley is 13.15, so I just wanted to get back to you on that. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you, Ms.
Thank
Brightwell.
y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Thank you, Superintendent. We now move on to Visitor Section 1.06. The Caddo Parish School Board welcomes your input and comments regarding items that are on today's meeting agenda. If you would like to speak regarding an item on today's committee meeting agenda, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and make your remarks to the entire board. Please limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes. A time clock on the monitor will help you be aware of your time. When the time runs out, your time is up. It is the board's policy to not respond individually to members of the audience. When appropriate, the board may refer concerns to staff to be addressed. As this is a public meeting, we ask you to refrain from referring to personnel by name or incident. In accordance with school board policy, derogatory statements about or directed at a school board member, any employee, or any other person shall not be allowed. Ms. Glover?
Thank you. John Glover, 9100 Walker Road, apartment 217, Shreveport, 71118. I was so intrigued when I saw agenda item 1.04 because I was like, I'd like to hear those priority areas that the superintendent is going to be sharing with you all, as well as us in the public alike. And the areas that he shared, the academic support, attendance and behavior, and the things that go along with that, the rebranding of the district, but more so the workforce development and opportunities and experience. And to be able to facilitate such, you would definitely need I guess one would say up-to-date career center. Now, I know we've been running behind or trying to get a career center for some years now. And I just want to make sure that in our efforts to accommodate the need, us going in this direction, the new facility, which I'm not against, let me say that, but to make sure that we're not locking students in based on that. There was a slide up there that showed middle school, high schools. I have always been one that said, prepare the children whereby they get to choose the direction they choose for their future. Yes, the Career Center would be essential. It would provide those students who are equipped to go into the areas that you all have presented here today. But for those who are not equipped, what are we going to do with that middle school child? Not the J.S. Clark Academy thing, because to me, when you talk about workforce, we need the workforce, and that is true. But we want those who will decide how the workforce will impact, or they will impact the workforce, that they are equipped with the curriculum, with all that takes, reading, writing, and arithmetic, because you got to have that regardless of wherever you go. So I want to commend the superintendent for his efforts, but I also want to say, don't block the children in with this mindset about workforce development, because not all will qualify to utilize the center into which it is designed. You gave a lot of different healthcare, manufacturing, drone techniques, aviation. That's going to take some skills. We know that. Even when you talked about plumbing and carpentry, those are skill jobs. So we just want to make sure that the basics the children are getting so they can decide when it is where they will go. Thank you.
Good evening, Omari Hossein. Do I have to do all that for this?
Address, yes,
Yeah,
my apologies.
Okay. So I just had 4 questions, and I do want to thank you on my address, 1421 Arlington Avenue. Thank you for asking the question, School Board Member Trammell, around the 81st Street and the consolidation into Atkins. That was an initial question that I had when Mr. Greer was talking about the renovations that would be taking place, the accommodation of the very high population of special needs children that would be coming out of 81st Street into Atkins. I was a little disappointed that I didn't hear that mentioned in the initial plan, but I'm glad to hear the response to your question. So that was my initial question. My second question is around the appraisals that were shared today. It's very good to know that 81st Street has been appraised already. I think my concern around that is that parents that are currently at the school have yet to be officially contacted or notified that the school will even be shutting down at the end of this school year. That's very troubling, in addition to the fact that on October 21st, you all put into consent for the public hearing requirement to be taken out of your policy, which would actually require you to go and talk to these parents at 81st Street. That was put on consent agenda, and then that was moved along and voted on unanimously by the entire school board. That's very, very unfortunate that you all took that away. I'd love to hear why you all took away that ability to engage with your community before you rezone them. That happened October 21st. Yes, ma'am, and it was taken away from the policy. I'd like to know why. And then secondly, I would love to know if there are some alternatives that you have now that you're going to be closing schools, consolidating schools, and moving children now. You're not going to talk to the community where you're going to do it, which has grave impact, which has been studied. So very interested to know why you all did that and why there's been no discussion around that. Then my next question is around the digital library at J.S. Clark. Sounds very neat. I have a 14-year-old who is always gaming and playing computers. My question around that, does that digital library replace the current library, or is that in addition? It's an addition to. Thank you so much. That was my only question around that. And then lastly, just as a lay citizen and a mom, I'd be very interested in transparency around where is the money coming from for all this stuff? And then for the sale of all of these buildings, where is that money going to? That would help to put a lot of our concerns around your lack of transparency and around the current moves that you all are making to take away your community engagement and your engagement with parents before you make such deep, impactful decisions around where their children will be educated. So thank you all so much for this opportunity, and have a great evening.
With no other additional speakers or commentary, we now move on to 1.09. Committee members, if you'll look in your brown folder, there are two recommendations that are within there. If there's a motion to approve these, they can go on the agenda for the November 18th meeting. If it pleases the committee, I'll read the recommendations. Recommendation number 1 moves that the Building, Grounds, and Security Committee recommend to the Caddo Parish School Board at its November 18th meeting to formally initiate price negotiations for the property owned by Louisiana Tech University, which includes the current site where Caddo Virtual Academy is located, and additional frontage property owned by the Greater Chamber of Commerce for others. Recommendation number 2 is a motion that the committee recommend to the school board to approve staff to accept the purchase offer for Pine Valley Elementary property in the amount of $13,000. Is there a motion? We can do them separately. Recommendation number 1, I'll entertain a motion. Chair recognizes Ms. Mary Trammell.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Recommendation for us to pass this motion on to the Caddo Parish School Board.
Thank you, Ms. Trammell. Is there a second? I see Mr. Bowman on the board.
Ms. Bowen was first.
Um,
I'm gonna do the second. I mean, the next one. You can go
Chair recognizes Ms. Bowen.
I'll make a second to Ms. Trammell's motion to allow them to move forward on the.
Thank you, Ms. Bowen. It's been duly first and seconded. We now will go for a vote. We'll do voice and then electronic. All those in favor of recommendation number 1, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Now confirm electronically, please. Entertaining a movement for recommendation number 2. Chair recognizes Jerry Bowen.
No, it's him. Bowman.
I'm so sorry.
It's him. It's bad.
Bowen is on the board. Is Bowman making a recommendation?
Yes.
Mr.
You have to say later, sir.
I did.
Okay. Chair now recognizes Mr. Bowman, who is now electronically on the board.
So moved.
Is there a second? Chair recognizes Mr. Mill.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mill. It's been moved and seconded. We'll now take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. No opposition. Please confirm with an electronic vote.
That works a little better.
We now move on to 1.10. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Chair recognizes Mr. Bowman,
Motion to adjourn.
seconded by Ms. Trammell.
Yes.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That's gonna be a really nice bag.